Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a datasheet dilemma that literally trips up so many solar enthusiasts and installers. I mean, if you've ever really looked at a solar panel datasheet, you've probably noticed two different current ratings that seem super similar, yet one is always just a bit higher than the other. Well, we are going to unpack exactly why that is and give you the knowledge to read those numbers like a seasoned solar engineer. Okay, picture this relatable scenario for a second. You look at your brand new solar panel's specs, and it clearly says it can produce 11 amps. But when you hook it up and monitor your system on a perfectly sunny day, it's only running at 10. It immediately makes you wonder, right? Is the panel somehow losing current? Are you getting cheated out of that extra amp? It's a hugely common question, and as we'll see, the answer is all about understanding how solar panels actually generate real power. To solve this mystery and master your system design, here is our roadmap for today. 1. The datasheet dilemma. 2. Defining ISC and IMP. 3. The IV curve explained. 4. Real-world system design. And 5. Testing, safety, and risks. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The datasheet dilemma and the confusion on the spec sheet. What's really fascinating here is how technically correct but incomplete facts lead to some pretty dangerous assumptions. People read that a panel produces an 11-amp short-circuit current, but runs around 10 amps normally. Left with just that info, users naturally assume the panel is being inefficient. They might look at their MPPT charge controller and think, hey, no way, this should be getting 11 amps all day long. But the reality? Current and voltage interact dynamically. Expecting that absolute highest current all day completely misunderstands the underlying physics. Section 2. Defining ISC and IMP. Short circuit versus maximum power. First up, we have ISC, or short circuit current. This is the current produced when the positive and negative terminals of a solar panel are connected directly together through a very low resistance path. Think of ISC as an extreme operating condition. It's essentially the absolute peak current the panel can physically push out. But there is a major catch. In this short-circuited state, the voltage across the panel drops to essentially zero. So this metric is really just used for testing and safety design, definitely not for your normal daily power generation. On the flip side, we've got IMP, which stands for maximum power current. Now, this is the current during normal operation, the one that allows for actual, useful power production when your panel is connected to a load, like your charge controller or battery bank. The panel is basically constantly hunting to operate at this specific sweet spot, the maximum power point, because that's where the exact balance of voltage and current yields the highest possible energy output. This comparison illustrates the contrast brilliantly. ISC gives you the absolute maximum current, sure, but because it happens under extreme test conditions, you get practically zero voltage. IMP, on the other hand, dials the current back just a tiny bit, but delivers the substantial voltage you actually need to produce real power. You literally cannot have the absolute peak of both at the exact same time. Section 3. The IV curve explained. Diving into the physics of solar power. I want you to burn this specific metric into your mind, 0 volts. During a short circuit condition, the voltage drops to essentially zero, and that zero entirely dictates how much actual work your solar panel can do in that state. Which brings us to the most fundamental power equation in electrical engineering. Power equals voltage multiplied by current, or P equals V times I. Since power requires the multiplication of both of these factors, that 0-volt metric we just talked about, it becomes the single most crucial factor in the entire equation. So let's just do the math. Even when your current is maxed out at its absolute highest peak, your 11 amps of ISC, multiplying it by 0 volts means your panel is producing virtually zero usable power. A panel pushing massive current at 0 volts can't charge a battery, it can't run an inverter, and it definitely can't power your home. It's pushing current, but doing absolutely zero usable work. Conversely, maximum power happens when substantial voltage, known as Vmp, and that slightly lower IMP combine. If you multiply a high voltage by a slightly lower 10-amp IMP, boom, you get hundreds of watts of usable power. This proves that real solar performance is all about the product of both metrics working together, not just chasing the highest possible current. This whole dynamic creates what's known as the famous IV curve. You see, solar panels aren't ideal current sources that just blindly deliver constant current no matter what they're connected to.
As the voltage creeps up from 0 toward the open circuit maximum, the current gradually falls off. Your MPPT charge controller is incredibly smart. It sweeps along this curve to find the exact point where multiplying the voltage and the current gives you the highest total wattage. That sweet spot is exactly where your equipment is designed to operate, right between the extremes of 0 volts and 0 current. Section 4. Real-world system design. Let's look at how to apply these numbers. Think of this table as your ultimate design cheat sheet. Notice how ISC is strictly for your safety margins, protection, and wiring. Because it's the absolute highest potential current under test conditions, you have to use it to size your conductors, fuses, and combiner boxes for worst-case scenarios. Meanwhile, IMP is your go-to for calculating actual energy production. You use IMP when you want to know how much power you're actually going to generate on a given day. And trust me, if you swap these numbers around, you are asking for serious trouble. If you mistakenly use the lower imp value to calculate your fuse sizes, you'll end up undersizing your protection devices. That means annoying nuisance trips on perfectly sunny days, not to mention major code violations. On the flip side, assuming your MPPT controller will receive ISC all day long leads to wildly inaccurate yield expectations, because the MPPT is intentionally avoiding that short circuit point altogether. Section 5. Testing safety and risks. Protecting your system and yourself.
Okay, so testing for ISC means placing a meter directly across the panel output, essentially creating that dead short we talked about earlier. Doing this introduces massive risks if you aren't careful. If you try to short-circuit entire strings or combined arrays without specialized equipment, you risk generating terrifying arc flashes when you disconnect the PV circuits, and you also risk instantly blowing the internal fuses of your really expensive test meters. Which brings us to a critical, absolutely crucial limitation you must verify before you test anything. Always check your multimeter specifications. Most standard off-the-shelf multimeters completely max out at just 10 or 20 amps. Try testing the ISC of a modern high-output panel with one of those, and you'll exceed the limit in a split second, frying the meter or worse. So to stay safe out in the field, strictly follow this protocol. 1. Always verify your meter's maximum current rating. 2. Never, ever intentionally short-circuit combined arrays or high-voltage PV strings. 3. Wear your proper personal protective equipment, or PPE, to guard against arc flashes. And 4. Always follow the approved testing procedures from your manufacturer. Your safety is absolutely worth the extra 2 minutes it takes to double-check this stuff. If you take away just one single thing from this explainer, let it be this. Your panel is not losing performance. A lower operating current is exactly how a solar panel is designed to generate efficient, real-world power. That slightly lower imp is the necessary trade-off to maintain the high voltage required to run your system at absolute peak performance. I want to leave you with a thought to chew on about your own testing experiences. Have you ever actually measured the ISC of a solar panel out in the field? And if so, did those real-world numbers actually perfectly match the datasheet in full sunlight? Or did a passing cloud change the whole game? Once you truly understand the relationship between ISC, IMP, and the IV curve, these datasheets transform from a confusing wall of numbers into a powerful map for building incredibly efficient and totally safe renewable energy systems. Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and until next time, stay curious.